didn't think much about the triangle thing. Bennington, whatever. I'd seen some blog posts, sure. People disappear. People always disappear somewhere. Doesn't make it magic. I just needed somewhere to sit still for a while. Somewhere without phone towers. Without voices. Without people who keep saying, "How are you holding up?" like that's ever a question. Just a spot to breathe. I picked a state park nobody talks about. Halfway up the Green Mountains. No cell. No lights. Just a tent pad with a wooden box nailed to a tree that said "Pay what you can," in faded paint. Perfect. First night was cold. I didn't mind. Second night it rained. I slept through it. Third night, something rang. I didn't sit up right away. Wasn't even sure I'd heard it. Just one note. Metal. Clean. I thought cookware. Wind. A branch hitting something hollow. But it echoed. Just a little. Like it wasn't supposed to be here. I sat up. Unzipped the tent. Looked out. Nothing. No light. No other campers. Just trees that didn't move. The sound didn't come again. But the way the air felt after. Like when someone knocks but walks away before you answer. I told myself I imagined it. Just tired. Brain filling in blanks. But the next night, I heard it again. Same bell. Same tone. Closer. Not right outside. But closer. And something else. When it rang, the woods stopped. No wind. No small things. No creak of branches. Just nothing. And I didn't feel alone. But not in a warm way. Like the moment after you say someone's name. And you know they heard you. Because you can feel the listening. The morning felt too quiet. I thought it was just my head at first. Slept light. Didn't dream, or maybe just forgot. But the tent felt colder than it should have. Like the air got in, even zipped. I sat up. Everything looked the same. Stove, boots, backpack, all where I left them. I made coffee. Burnt it. Didn't care. But then I noticed. The laces on my boots weren't tied the way I do it. I always double loop. Always. These were once through, lazy. Like someone trying to guess how I do it. And the zipper on my bag. Half open. Just enough that the flap hung down. I told myself I did it. Had to be. Maybe I was out of it. But I don't leave my light turned off. Not ever. And that headlamp, the one I always clip inside the tent. It was lying in the dirt, 2 feet from the flap. Still dry. Like it was gently placed. I didn't sleepwalk. I don't do that. So I started thinking, maybe it's raccoons. Right? They're clever. Smart little bastards. Maybe they got in. But no scratch marks. No teeth. Nothing chewed. And nothing missing. Just moved. And the dirt outside the tent. Smooth. Too smooth. Like someone brushed it. I don't know why that was the thing. But it was. No twigs. No prints. No wind that strong last night. But the ground, clean. Like someone didn't want me to know they were there. I stayed another night. Don't ask why. I thought about leaving. Packed half my stuff. Then the sun came out and everything felt normal again. Almost. I told myself I'd imagined the laces, the headlamp, all of it. Sleep-deprived people see patterns. Brains get noisy when there's no one around to talk back. So I stayed. One more night. Just to be sure. The fire wouldn't catch. Not properly. Even with dry tinder. It hissed like it was too wet, but everything was dry. I didn't push it. Made do with a cold dinner. Tried to read. Couldn't focus. I lay down early. Didn't sleep. Then, just past midnight, the bell rang. Once. Same as before. High, clear. Just loud enough that you couldn't ignore it. I held my breath. Waited. Then, again. Second ring. Not louder. Not closer. But sharper. Like it wasn't just sound now, it was intention. And right after. Something else. A voice. Not above. Not far. Just. Behind the tent. Low. Flat. Like someone talking into the ground. I couldn't hear words. Not really. But it ended with my name. Not loud. Not shouted. Not Ben, like a warning. Just. Ben. Like punctuation. Like the end of a sentence I missed. I didn't move. I wanted to. But I didn't. Because there's something worse than hearing your name. When you know there's no one out there. And it's hearing it said. Like they've said it before. I left the tent early. Just wanted to move. Walk off the night. I didn't pack. Just grabbed my coat. The forest felt wrong again. Like it was waiting for me to step out before it could breathe. I walked west. Past the creek the host told me not to cross. I don't know why. The trail dipped once. Then rose. I came through a narrow cut between two stones. And there it was. A camp. Not close. Not clear at first. But. There. Tent. Blue. Same model as mine. Stove. Folded chair. Cooler. I stopped. Looked back. Just trees behind me. I stepped closer. Not fast. The tent was zipped. Chair knocked over. But the cooler, same sticker as mine. Same tear on the edge of the flap. I crouched by the fire ring. Ashes. Cold. But not wet. Like someone had burned something. Not long ago. I opened the cooler. Empty. Except one wrapper. Same protein bar I ate the first night. I checked the ground. No new footprints. Just. Mine. And then I saw my name. Scratched lightly into the dirt. Next to a stick. Just the letters. Nothing else. Ben. Not carved. Not written. Just dragged. As if someone was practicing. I stood there. Longer than I should have. Then I turned. Walked back. But when I passed between the two stones again, there was no trail. Just trees. I don't know how long it took me to find my way back. But when I did, my camp was still there. Exactly how I left it. Except the zipper on the tent was open. And the headlamp was inside. Turned on. But I hadn't left it that way. I packed to leave. Didn't think about it this time. No, one more night. Just done. Tent. Gear. Everything. I kept the recorder on. More out of habit. Dad used to say, talk out loud, or the woods start talking for you. I walked east. Checked the compass. Double-checked GPS. Trail was clean. First half mile felt normal. But then, it started again. Same log I stepped over. Same dead birch leaning left. Same 3 rocks in the trail. I told myself I was wrong. I'd made a loop. Missed a turn. But the track said straight. And the sun hadn't moved much. I checked the GPS. It blinked once. Then the arrow turned. Not left. Not right. Just back. I stopped. Took off my pack. Sat down. Tried to breathe slow. Then the recorder clicked. I didn't press anything. It was in my jacket pocket. But it played. My voice. Not breathing. Not fumbling. Just speaking. It said, "Don't follow the sound, it'll sound like her next." I froze. I never said that. And I don't know anyone it could mean. But my voice kept going. Same tone. Same rhythm I use when I talk alone. Then it said something else. "If you see the tent again, it's not yours this time." I didn't press record. I didn't say any of that. I turned it off. Jammed it deep in my bag. Stood up. Turned around. But the trail behind me was gone. Just woods. And the bell rang. Once. Right in front of me. I walked. Not fast. Not in any real direction. Just moved. Because stopping meant listening. And I couldn't do that again. The trees felt closer than before. But not tighter. Just more aware. Like they didn't close in. They leaned in. I followed nothing. No trail. No compass. Just legs and breath and stubbornness. Until I saw the ridge. It wasn't marked. Wasn't special. Just a shelf of stone and moss. But I remembered it. From pictures. Black and white search photo. 1950-something. A girl. Standing on the edge. Right here. I didn't remember her name. Just the phrase people always repeated. The girl in gray. But the figure I saw wasn't in gray. She was in blue. Like denim. Old. Soft. Faded. She was standing. Still. At the ridge edge. Back toward me. Head slightly turned. Not enough to see her face. But enough to know. She knew I was here. She didn't speak. Neither did I. I couldn't move. Not because I was scared. But because I suddenly had the worst feeling. That this wasn't the first time I'd seen her. Not dream memory. Not internet. Not hearsay. But something in my chest that said, this already happened. Maybe not to me. But through me. The bell didn't ring. But the air did. A pressure in the back of my jaw. Like static about to crack. And then she turned, not fast, not dramatic. Just enough that I saw. There was no face. Not missing. Not hollow. Just smooth. Like wind over snow. And somehow, she looked exactly like someone I was supposed to remember. I walked back. Or tried to. The ridge fell behind me slow. Like the trees didn't want me to leave. But didn't need to stop me either. I didn't look back at her. I didn't have to. She wasn't the kind of thing that disappears when you stop looking. The forest felt colder. Even in daylight. Like the sun was getting filtered through something too thick to name. I followed my steps. Past the fallen birch. Past the split rock. The marks I left on purpose. Just in case. And I saw the clearing. But it wasn't right. The fire ring was shattered. Stones black. Tent poles melted. Fabric crumpled in the dirt, buried halfway in leaves. No ash. No smoke. But everything looked done. Like a fire that burned. Not last night. Not this morning. But years ago. I stepped closer. The cooler was there. But cracked. Sun faded. Open. A boot print, maybe mine. But too deep. And not in the direction I'd come from. My voice shook when I called out. I don't know why I called out. I already knew no one would answer. I turned. Ready to leave. Really leave. This time I meant it. But something caught. Underfoot. Not a branch. Something firm. Half buried in moss. I crouched. Pulled it free. A photo. Bent. Faded. A person standing. In front of a tent. Mine. Same model. Same site. Same trees behind it. But the face was me. Older. Or maybe not. But not what I looked like this morning. Different jacket. One I don't own. No expression on the face. Just looking at the camera. Like I knew something. On the back. In pencil. It said, Bennington, 1951. I didn't go back to the trail. There wasn't one anymore. Just trees. And the sound of the wind pretending to be quiet. I stayed in a clearing. Sat where the fire used to be. Held the recorder in my hand. I hadn't pressed play in a while. Hadn't spoken into it. But now. I clicked it on. Waited for the red light. Then spoke. If someone finds this, don't come. Not because it's dangerous. You already knew that. But because it won't matter. I paused. Thought about what else to say. I think this place remembers things. And sometimes it needs people to remember them too. So it shows you pieces. Your camp. Your face. Her voice. But it's not a warning. It's an invitation. Wind moved. But didn't touch me. I kept going. You'll think you're the first. But you're not. And when you hear the bell, you'll understand what I mean. I clicked it off. Set it down. Covered it with a flat stone. And stood up. I didn't try to leave again. I just walked. Not fast. Not far. Just. Until the forest felt quiet again. And when I stopped, I wasn't alone. I could feel it. Not her. Not something watching. Just someone listening. Maybe close. Maybe years away. But eventually, someone else will hear it ring. And they'll follow. Because the bell never rings for no one. The end.